Okay, let's see if the audio is working. Hey, how's it going? Let me know if that music's too loud or if it's okay. We're using my favorite liquid chrome paint for this one. We're working on Mr. Bones' arms today. This paint, you really don't need a lot. Just a little bit goes a long ways. Thank you guys for being here. This is my first ever live stream on YouTube. Hi, Alex. Let me go turn that music down really quick. How's everyone's Saturday night going? For anyone who isn't familiar with this project, I'm working on weathering our full-size 3D printed Mr. Bones. Mike. Thanks for being here. So what's my preferred technique for smoothing layer lines? I've tried a lot of different alternatives. I've done wood filler in the past. I used to love using glazing Bondo, but my current favorite process is Liquitex modeling paste as a way for helping smooth layer lines. I love it because it's non-toxic. I can still do wet sanding with it, dry sanding, it doesn't matter, whatever my preference is. And the workflow I typically go through is I will get the start of the 3D print, just a raw version of it, and then I will go over it with a very thin layer of the Liquitex modeling paste. After I have that thin layer, I'll let that dry and then do Rust-Oleum filler sanding spray, sand it down, and then repeat that cycle as many times as I need to get a really smooth finish. And if you've seen any of my YouTube videos, everything with that giant C3PO I have, the full-size wearable, that was all done with Liquitex modeling paste and using that process. And he came out beautiful, even though I'm like super biased, but that is my favorite one. I know some people have found it to be, a lot of comments I get are, does it dry hard, the Liquitex modeling paste? And it does dry. It's advertised as stone hard when it dries, which I found to be really accurate. Some people find it harder to sand, but I think part of the trick with it is that wet sanding. I think that makes a world of difference in making it much easier. But the result's beautiful, nice hard product. And it's not toxic, so I don't have to wear gloves or a respirator using it, which after coming from using glazing Bondo is amazing. What's your current favorite method, Mike? I always love hearing what people try. We're going to go with a lot more of this chrome silver in the areas that the hinges are here, because those would naturally get the most wear on this droid anyway. So we'll just speed up that aging process. A little closer. Still using spray putty, but it's nasty, stinking stuff. I more recently started playing with resin and UV curing, but again, nasty stuff. Yeah, I tried the resin too. So when people ask about having issues with cracking when you do like a layer line removal process, I think when I personally tried like some of the, at least using the UV resin we use for our 3D prints, I did find that one cracked. And I didn't continue using that one, but it did overall work. Just had some challenges there. It is amazing when you find a process that works really well for your workflow. Now when you say using spray putty, what kind of spray putty? And the skin rash, oh man, that's rough. Yeah, some of the stuff, like whenever possible, I prefer to avoid like harsh chemicals with what we do here, because there is so many wonderful products. There are a ton of wonderful products out there that aren't really great for our skin or for us to come in contact with. And when you do like make a lot of these projects and enjoy doing it very frequently, I get worried about that exposure. So when I can, I err on the side of caution. Mr. Bones, I just have a handful more pieces and then we're actually ready to do a final assembly, and then we're going to do a photo shoot with him, which I always get super excited about. Here in Florida we have like a lot of really cool swampy areas, and there's one that's not too far that I've been scoping out as a possible Mr. Bones space. I think we'll give him a kind of a jungly photo shoot. It'll be pretty fun. Automotive spray putty. The brand is SCA. Oh, interesting. I haven't heard of that method. Thank you for sharing. I'll have to look that one up. But it's really good to know about the skin exposure part. My skin is usually really sensitive to that kind of stuff too. So I certainly feel you there. What are you currently working on, Mike? So usually on the edges, I like to give some extra of the silver weathering. Those are definitely places that naturally paint gets chipped off if this was not something we were manufacturing. Just finished C3PO and now BDX. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That is so cool. For C3PO, did you do wearable? Are you doing freestanding, decorative? That was such a fun project. Mine makes me smile every time I look at him. Oh, you did the animatronic one? That's amazing. That is definitely one of my goals, is to get better with the electronics and learn how to do animatronics. If you ever want to chat, I would love to hear how you got started with the animatronics and started learning. That's like truly incredible. Have I seen your animatronic C-3PO mic? Have you posted that on TikTok or anything? If I haven't, I would definitely love to see it. Only build clips so far for on YouTube. Okay. I absolutely want to see that. That's amazing. How long did it take you to make? So awesome. I tend to do shorts, that way I don't have to talk. Yeah, the shorts are amazing, and especially when like you're doing projects that take months. I have so much footage from making my C-3PO, the Commander Droid, Mr. Bones, and as you know, these things take a long time to get the final one done. So it's definitely hard to find time sometimes to sit down and like edit a full huge YouTube video. But shorts, so nice as a way to update on projects. Totally love that. So 5 months, nice. Oh my gosh. So between the printing and the electronics, all of it, that's actually really incredible. Was he your first droid that was animatronic, or do you have other ones that are already moving around? Tend to obsess and go hard. I love it. That's amazing. It's easy to do with these projects, especially when you love what you're making. BB-8. Oh, oh my gosh, DJ Rex and BB-8. Your house is way too much fun. Okay, so how did you get started learning? What tips and tricks could you give me with the animatronic side of things? Because that I truly marvel at. That is magic, bringing them to life. Like, I love looking at them like the stationary droids, but when you can see people who are able to actually make them move and do things, it's truly incredible. I think that's one of the big reasons I like the wearable C-3PO is I could bring him to life without having to have the level of electronic skills that people like you can do. And hopefully someday people like me, I will learn. But today we are very limited there. You blame COVID, the lockdowns, so it's forced work from home. Yeah. That's actually how I got started with 3D printing and 3D printing droids at all. 100% was because of COVID and the lockdown and being stuck at home. This was my lifeline, I think, for a lot of everything during that. It was really an amazing world to escape into. Okay, so ChatGTP can be a good option for code. That's good to know. I definitely have heard of Arduino, but the other one I haven't heard of. Mr. Chicken Raven. Oh, okay. Thank you. I really appreciate the tips. It's amazing. Weathering envy. Well, thank you for joining here, Mike. I appreciate you. I love weathering. It's one of my favorite parts. Well, I think I just love doing this, so I do say a lot of the parts are my favorite parts, but this one, I love just relaxing into it and enjoying it. My brain likes to zone out and just kind of imagine what this little guy went through to get all these marks. And this is just my first time doing a live stream, so I will be working and kind of refining the setup. Like this laptop ideally won't be right here. My cord for the camera above that you see is a little bit on the short side, so for tonight the laptop is visible, but when my longer cord arrives, we should have a much better view of things. So I appreciate you bearing with me and actually hanging out for this. Gotta start somewhere, like anything, huh? Okay, so we have a lot of concentration of weathering right in this area. I think it'd be kind of cool to pull across and down a bit. So let's do some of that. Try to make it so you can see what I'm thinking here. Okay. Right. So here, following our line. Nice, good old fashioned scratch. Following this line. More details nearby. I love Mr. Bones, and that I really think that he's a character that can do heavier weathering on, since we know he gets into trouble in the galaxy. They're not scars, they're fashion scratches. I love that. Yeah. It's accurate. And welcome, Christopher. Thanks for jumping in the chat. Nice to see you today. Fashion scratches, that's too cute. Alright, so this side, we're looking really, so this all was done in advance, the top of the hand. I think we're matching it quite nicely. Do a little more on this side, and then we'll move on to our next piece of the arms. Set this aside to dry a little bit. sure everything's nice and clean. Sideways motion. So this scratch we're doing is going to be more of like if you dragged your arm across something. Got some scratches and scuds.
Vintage tea, brand new farm, high heels on, cobblestones. When you are young, they assume you know nothing. Sequin smile, black lipstick, sensual politics. When you are young,
This one is for Mr. Bones' upper arm.
To all is a friend to none. Chase two girls, lose the one. When you are young, they assume you know nothing. But I knew you, playing hide and seek and giving me your weekends.
Giving us some more dimension here.
Heartbeat on the high line, once in 20 lifetimes. Felt like I was an old cardigan under someone's bed. You put me on and said I was your favorite.
Do I have a brush preference? Building a Death Trooper for 501st Legion. Ooh, airbrush for weathering. But this seems more doable. So I love my airbrush for weathering. And if you look on my shorts, you'll see, grab this piece that we were just working on. I used it a lot for Mr. Bones to do the weathering part too. And I like the airbrush for giving it a lot of shadowing, depth, adding other colors. Like this was super bright fire truck or red before I color matched it to this first hand piece. And all that was like airbrushing and weathering. It was really rewarding and really fun. So if you have access to the airbrush, it is a blast and it's so much fun and you can do so much with it for these pieces. I would definitely recommend it. For just going in with dry brushing and just using brushes, I 100% love that approach too, and I've been doing that much longer. This is my favorite liquid chrome. That's what I'm using right now, and you only need a couple drops and it goes a long way, and it's very vibrant. It feels a lot like metal. Very easy for brushing. And when it comes to dry brushing and just weathering in general, my favorite brushes are my super old brushes. They've been with me a long time. They're kind of beaten and a little bit of a mess. Let's see if I can show you this one. It's not the best because it's a little dark, huh? But this one is very rough. I like this one for just straight dry brushing. The bristles are very worn, but it's really great for that. This little guy that I'm using right now, I love this when it comes to doing little details. The bristles aren't perfect altogether, but I like that because the little dots and extra accents they give it a little additional flair. So I find that to be a lot of fun. I have clean, really nice, beautiful brushes. I tend not to use them as much because I like that the worn brushes give it, to me, sometimes a very authentic and fun look. So I don't think there's a perfect brush for any of this. I think it's what you end up enjoying and what works really good for you. I tend to make every penny squeal whenever I can, so I'm try to be thrifty. So if I can reuse something and repurpose it, I'd rather do that than go out of my way and buy something new. So old brushes, crazy effects, always love that. The Death Trooper sounds like a fantastic project to be working on. What other cosplays have you submitted for or already have approved with 501st? Is this your first one, or have you been with 501st for a while? Every time I see them at a convention, I always mean to go home and look into what it would take to get involved, because it definitely looks like a lot of fun. Typically after a convention though, I get so caught up and wrapped up in more projects that it doesn't end up going that way exactly. Yeah, let me know if that helped answer your question at all, but it's definitely for me more about the paint versus the brushes. Having a paint I enjoy, I think, works much more for me. And I do have other silvers I've tried in the past, but I have not had as much luck with any of them as I have with this one. Oh, it's your first one. Started losing liquid text modeling paste after seeing shorts about it. And the processing has been so much easier. Oh my gosh, Christopher, I'm so happy that that's been a good fit for you too. Good. I'm happy that it's been helpful. I've loved it as a product. So anytime it can bring someone else some joy on their journey and make life easier, thank you for sharing. That means a lot. It makes me feel good using it too, because I like knowing that it's not toxic. That means a lot to me, especially because like we're always using spray paints and all these other things, so less exposure to anything that could be nasty later. How far are you in your process with it? Are you on the painting part yet, or still doing post-print processing? This is the other trick. I have pet fur all over my house, so these paintbrushes feel like they're forever also getting pet fur on them, which does sometimes add some extra flair to these projects. Definitely not intentionally, but it can totally work. Still post-processing, but also printing. Started in smaller parts, so if something while you're waiting for the multiple day prints to finish. Oh yeah, I know how that goes. It's definitely a long haul. But it's smart that you're working in segments. Depending on what project, it's definitely harder when like you let the pieces stack up and aren't working through them the whole time. That pile can grow really fast. I let that happen with the commando droid, where I had so many pieces and they were just hanging out in the garage waiting for me to work on them. My carpal tunnel did not appreciate that. With the modeling piece, Christopher, are you doing wet sanding or dry sanding? Both? What has been your preference? So you do slightly thinned application followed by dry sanding, then another much thinner application followed by wet sanding, then primer. Nice. It's great. It's definitely a nice product that you can choose how much you want to build up those layers. And a little does go a long way. Thinning it out is wonderful. Okay. Look at that pepper. So we were always cat people, and then we decided to get dogs, and people are like, oh my gosh, cats shed so much. Cats are, crazy. And then we got dogs, and nobody warned us that, like, our dogs, oh my goodness, they shed so much more than the cats ever did. Love them to bits, though. I find their fur on everything. Especially in the room we're working right now. We're gonna set this guy to the side. Feeling happy with the silver we got going. And we're gonna go back to this piece and go in with some dry brushing. I think that would be lots of fun. Alrighty. So let's actually go a little bit brighter. Let's do some of this burnt sienna color. There. So we're going to switch to this kind of little more roughed up brush here. Very thick, very worn. And then for this part, we're going to dip that in our burnt sienna, get a lot of it off. Get as much off as possible. There we go. see a little bit better. Definitely work on getting some better lighting in here for you guys, so you'll be able to see much more for next time. Kind of like this tapping motion. There we go. That's a bit better. Dab off on the paper towel. So we're going to go lighten this top area that's raised. Part of what the dry brushing here I'm hoping to achieve is giving it kind of like a little bit like a sun bleaching when we go a little bit lighter. Can kind of give an aged appearance. Even closer. This is definitely a tapping motion here. So it's very subtle here. Might shift gears to darker colors so you guys actually can see what I'm working on more. lighting is not quite doing it justice. Thank you, cat. We have an unexpected visitor. You can help us paint. Alright, we're gonna multitask. Pet the cat while painting Mr. Bones. Pull out our raw umber. Love this color. It's not quite black, just off of it. I'm gonna go deep in these crevices. There we go. And we can also go in, dab off any excess we don't want. We're gonna do all of this while still balancing the cat on our lap. He's determined he's gonna help us with this project. We're gonna paint the dark umber in the crevices. Paint color collection. Yeah, it's been a work in progress. I've been slowly adding to it, but these like honeycomb paint display modules have been just like serotonin to look at. It's amazing. They make me happy to see. So I still have some of these paints that I've not opened yet, but I really have been enjoying having access to them for when the need does arise. I bet you guys can't hear it, but my cat is purring so loud. He thinks this is the best thing ever. Huh, we're hanging out. Yep. I'm gonna have so much fur in this project, little guy. So what's great about having this brush be kind of smushed and a little bit wonky from how old it is, I've had it for years, it's leaving this really great pattern and impression here when I just go lightly with it. It's quite beautiful. Old brushes are fun. Alright, we'll get some of this dark paint in these crevices. Definitely doing here too. These are areas where you get a buildup of dirt and sediment and fun things that would be actually hard to clean out if this guy was causing mayhem in real life. Definitely want to darken that up. Over. If I don't pet this cat, he's gonna revolt, I think. Hi. You're so silly. So, if you do end up coming on any of these live streams in the future with me, I'm sure this little guy is gonna make another guest appearance. This is Socrates, Mr. Socks. This is my cat. We don't have favorite pets in this house, so this is my favorite pet. So he kind of gets away with anything he feels like. Which is why he's helping me on these projects. Even though it definitely makes it like it's painting on hard mode. So when I do these dry brushing, I definitely love that scrubbing motion. Really get in there. Definitely getting more of a dirt and warm look here. We have an invasion. I gotta work through that really quick. Come here. No. Gotta stop helping me, Socks. kitty cat's moving on with his life, so. Scuffs around the scratches. Get them even more exaggerated. I'm keeping barely any paint on here. Very minimal. Starting to look quite properly weathered here. I will definitely try to see what I can do to fix the quality of lighting in here. So I feel like we're missing so many of these details here. See what I can do about that for next time. Very bright. We painted all the silver. We're gonna add some dirt. Dull some of that down so it doesn't look like it's such a new scratch. Much better. post on recipes to liken where we're at for the night. Thank you guys so much for coming for my first ever live stream on YouTube and coming and hanging out. It's really been fun. I usually just sit here painting alone with the cat, you know? This has been really, really, really fun. It's nice having the company. And if there's anything you guys want to do, maybe next time we do a live stream like this, if there's anything we want to talk about, go over, let me know. Because I definitely want to make this fun for everyone. I think Mr. Bones is coming along quite nicely. It's going to be fantastic to get him all put together. So the other version of this hand in the garage ready for me to sand it. Start cleaning up. So it's starting to get pretty late. And sadly, if I'm not careful, I could do this all night. But where I'm currently at, it's already past midnight, so probably should wrap up for the night. Mike, how do you decide what item to build next? Isn't that always the challenge? So right now I am pretty torn. I saw Droid Division released the files for the Droidica, and almost instantly on impulse I almost went to buy that one. But I already still have IG-11 and I haven't printed him with Grogu's, yes, no buttons. Loved that. I haven't started that one yet. I have started Flo and Pet Chi, but I haven't continued her. And then there's this part of me that wants to do another full cosplay droid. I'm a sucker for like the old Star Wars, the cartoons, like back A style, really, really old. I used to love those. Very old. And they have some really cool cartoon droids, so I thought it'd be kind of fun to do like a full-size cosplay of one of the cartoon droids. So I don't know. I guess that is a question I always struggle with too, Mike, on how do you pick what's actually next and commit to it? Because there are so many fun ones out there. Right now, I've committed to finishing Mr. Bones and then the Commando droid before I print anything brand new, any new droids at least. So the cosplay idea, I can kind of, I have a workaround for myself where I could like start working on the 3D files for that now and just start printing that after I've been good and actually finished these two projects. But I'm still deciding. How do you pick? What's your way? I sometimes struggle like when it comes to like, I like the big things. If it's a small project, sometimes I'm not as excited about it. But then the big things mean I have to spend an eternity and a half, as you guys very well know, sanding and doing all the post-print process. So, these are the struggles, huh? Put that aside. Some of the last ones I have for Mr. Bones that we still need to use this telephone piece. I like to call it a telephone piece, but it is the connector between like the hips and his rib cage. So that's all ready to move on to the next phase too. But we'll save that for later. Mike, I have a bad habit of going, ooh, shiny, and starting a project but never finishing it. That is so relatable. I think we are all pretty guilty of that at some point, especially the droid builders. Heck, I think all Dave has to do is release a new file, and then it's like, ooh, shiny. Get so excited to try to make something new, so. I get that on a real level. That happened a little bit to the Commando droid because I got a creative block on what I want to do with this paint job. And then, ooh, shiny happened, and I grabbed Mr. Bones because, you know, Dave was willing to collaborate and, like, create Mr. Bones and bring him to life. So, Commando droid took a back burner. Everything was devoted to Mr. Bones and then C-3PO. And now I'm finally back to finishing the Commando droid, but he was collecting so much dust in my garage. It was unreal. So I'm glad that I have a direction finally for him, and we're making a headway there, and I'm actually having so much fun now that I kind of went with a obscure character from the Bad Batch for his paint job. It's been the best decision. So much more fun. Well, Christopher, Mike, thank you guys so much for hanging out and joining me. I'm going to call it for the night, but I'll leave the chat open for a little bit longer. If you guys have any other questions, any ideas, thank you for joining me for the first ever live stream for me on YouTube. It's been a lot of fun, and you guys have made this a great experience, so thank you. I hope I'll see you next time, Mike. I look forward to seeing your animatronic C-3PO. And Christopher, I wish you the best of luck on your Death Trooper, and I do hope that you'll follow up and give me some new updates on that. I'm excited to hear how it goes. Wherever you are, I hope that your evening, morning, whatever time it is wonderful. Have a good one, and I'll see you next time.